Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. This is the daily copy, the video version or audio version if you're listening on. Oh no. It was Noah Elkins. If you were wondering, trying to call me while I was doing this. I told him not to do that. Anyway, this is the a video version. This drops at 10 a.m. Monday through Thursday, and the written version, where you can get all the links to everything I'm about to talk about, drops at noon. If you subscribe to those, you'll get them in your mail inbox and daily when they drop, and you'll be able to see everything else that I talk about. You could subscribe to this as a podcast too, if you want to listen to it as you kind of move around throughout your day. So today we're going to be talking about some HR stuff, some social media stuff, and I believe some technology stuff. This is a pretty long one too, because we get to talk about Instagram and TikTok and what on earth the difference is. Here we go. HR number one. Do you know? Here we go. This is super interesting. Do you know what laws there are in different potential industry? Do you know what laws there are for the different potential injuries there might be in your industry? You probably don't, because there's just too many. And not knowing is going to cost you on the back end. There are approximately, this is a quote from the Safety Council, the Ministry of Magic, the National Safety Council. There are approximately 3.3 serious warehouse worker industries for every 100 workers in 2021. That is kind of bad. That's 3.3%. I don't know why they didn't put that. According to the report from the Strategic Organizing Center, and work injuries cost the U.S. employers an estimated 163.9 billion, 164 billion in 2020. With the changing regulations across municipalities, new heat standards in states like Oregon and New York recently passed limiting warehouse productivity quotas. If an HR leader drops the ball, an employee could get hurt, and the company could incur huge legal ramifications. Which is super interesting, because this comes at a time when we need to be producing more to catch up on the production that we stopped. So, but you can't sacrifice people in order to pull that off. That's a big chunk of change. The world of employee is changing, and the world of the workplace too. And it says in the article to come watch this video and see me expand on this. So it is really interesting. People don't. I think so. There's a couple of ways to think about this, and I think an older generation of person is going to say, "Hey, that's just the way it is." I mean, it's not irregular to have a facility with a molten lava river running through it that you could fall in. And I think potentially that's not a good thing. But that's the way the production and the economy has worked and lived for a very, very long time. It's going to be hard to fix that without AI and without a technological development in the workplace. So, but also on the other hand, workers too are kind of saying, because there's so few of them, and we talk about this in the state of the state of the employee podcast that we have for Clean Train U. There's so few workers that they can start demanding things that they historically haven't been able to demand, because there was more workers historically. Now there's fewer. Not that people don't want to work, but they probably don't want to risk falling in a molten lava river that runs through the middle of the workplace. Moving on to social media. Social media. This is a long one, and I'm not going to go over all of it inside this video. But the new Instagram is just the old TikTok, which is trying to be the new Instagram, right? Is there a difference between Reels and TikToks anyway? Alas, it wasn't always this way. Instagram introduced Reels in 2020 as just another content type that you could post on your social. However, it has leaned very hard into the format, knowing TikTok is stealing all our souls. These short form video pieces of content are stealing our souls because they suck away so much of our time. What's changed? Reels went from just another Instagram content format to the primary content format. As of July, any new video posted to Instagram shorter than 15 minutes is automatically categorized as a reel. The feed, that means you could have a 14-minute reel. The feed is riddled with reels, escaping their explore page. Yeah, the feed is riddled with reels, escaping their explore page, home to every scroll to in on. So there's no pictures on Instagram anymore. Okay, there's no pictures on Instagram anymore. It's all about reels. The Kardashians are mad. The Kardashians are mad. And no one knows why Instagram has done this to us. But let's be honest, brands, you're pot committed to Instagram. Instagram, there's 200 million businesses on the platform, and you just can't jump off of it. Even though it's changed, you spent too much time and money building your community there, which is true. A lot of companies have done that. If you plan on having business success on Instagram, you better commit to Reels. If you agree Reels and TikToks are basically the same, you better commit to TikTok as well, because you can just repurpose the content. So we talk about that and we go into deeper detail about what you can do. But one good way to, as some personal branding, and this is kind of what I've done, is you can use Instagram as a catch-all for all of your content because they have guides. None of the other platforms have guides, and you can build guides on your platform and host the different types of content that you produce in there, and then you can keep those types of content off of your home screen, off of your main page, which is where you want people to be visiting, especially if you have like a click funnel that you want them to visit a landing page on or something like that. So the way I've kind of begun doing it is I used to use YouTube for this, but now I'm using Instagram. Instagram you can use as a catch-all for all your type of content. So just post it on there because there's so much being posted on there, but it's going to be hard to get attention anymore on it. But you can post it on there and have that be a catch-all. So when someone does subscribe to the whole thing that you're doing, the entirety, and they say, "Oh, you got this podcast over here, you got this," you need a place that they can go to. Historically, it was websites, but you want websites to be able to monetize the visitor. So now you can use Instagram. You go visit the Instagram page. You see everything that's going on. You see all the guides, the different things, and then they can click on the landing page and they'll go. And the landing page will be the click funnel now. Rather than the website being the catch-all, you could use the Instagram page as the catch-all for all the content, and then you can move them on to somewhere else. Technology. These are two stories, super exciting stories, and Jake Paul is going to save the world. Here we go. Two stories from the world of tech that seem unrelated, should seem unrelated, but they are very much related. Here we go. In the ocean. So let's talk about underwater turbines that generate energy. This is exciting. While the ocean is already a destination for offshore wind turbines, engineers and researchers are channeling their inner little mermaid and looking into turbines that live under the sea. That's terrible. The terrible, terrible joke. This is the current state. A tech, the tech. This is a form of hydrokinetic power and is in its early stages, but experts say it is worth pursuing at scale because it would be a predictable way. It would be more predictable than other renewables because you don't know how windy it's going to be, but you always know the ocean, the motion of the ocean. Countries like the US, from the US to Japan, are funding in the tech. The latter recently, Japan recently kicked off a project that a project one organization estimates could eventually produce 60% of the country's current generating capacity. That's crazy. That's crazy, obviously. And we talked about this, I think, yesterday. There's a bunch of investment going into these companies because they are going to produce money, because people need to buy energy. If they can buy cheaper energy, they're going to buy the product. I see here that we can be in a similar situation as what we saw about 20 years ago at the end of the 90s in Europe, and then here in the US with wind energy. And that was a one quote. Go check out the article on this. What on earth does this have to do with Jake Paul? Well, I was hoping nothing, but it means something. So, first time YouTube megastar Jake Paul spoke with serial entrepreneur Jeffrey Wu. he was pitching a social media business idea that Wu ended up passing on. So he goes to this Wu guy. Wu is a serial investor. So they say, "Hey, let's have this social media platform." Wu says, "No, I'm not doing that." And Jake Paul says, "Okay, let's save the world." So they started this thing called the Anti Fund, which is a VC firm they announced in March 2021. The Rolling Fund has over 24 million in assets under management, according to Antifund, and its limited partners include Mark Anderson and Chris Dixon of A16Z. Antifund's manifesto underlines its focus on emerging technologies and AI, blockchain, and digital health. This is interesting. But in an interview, this is where Jake Paul becomes Batman. But in an interview, Paul and Wu said they are prioritizing defense technology. Jake Paul and this Wu guy are going to save America. And this is how they're going to do it. Wu told us that Antifund just made one of its largest investments to date in Anduril. That I think that is the sword that Aragorn uses in Lord of the Rings. The controversial defense tech company contracted to build a virtual border wall. I don't know what that. A virtual border wall created by Oculus founder. Oculus is a monster company. Founder Palmer Luckey. Anduril's products include attack drones, autonomous surveillance towers, and it has worked with the Pentagon's Project Maven. I don't know what the Project Maven is. I know what the Octagon is. In January, Anduril was awarded nearly $1 billion contract by the Department of Defense Special Operations Command. Jake Paul, the YouTube megastar, and Wu, his mate, declined to share specifics on their previously unreported Anduril investment. Anduril did not return, so you don't know. I think I have a link in. You don't know if they're telling the truth or not. Maybe I have a link to that in the article that will drop today at noon. But a virtual border wall, I don't know if you're allowed to be upset about that. It's a border wall, so you're allowed to be upset about that culturally, but I don't know if you're allowed to be upset about a virtual one. Super interesting things that are happening in the world. Jake Paul's the new Batman. He's going to save us all from virtual attacks, virtual villains, virtual jokers. It's exciting. So like I said at the top of this, we drop these Monday through Thursday. The articles drop at noon Monday through Thursday. Please check them out. Please subscribe. If I get enough subscribers, I'll be able to sell ads. The ads will be worth it because I'll only sell them to companies that I like. And then when I do that, you can probably get discounts and stuff that I'll be able to do. Hopefully I can sell local ads from local companies, and I'll talk about them here. If you're a local coffee shop, I'll talk about you. People will watch me talk about you. Hopefully, one hopes. Have a good day, guys. Have a lovely weekend. I won't be on here tomorrow. I'll be back